All right, welcome to another episode of the AIS Podcast, Above Industry Standard. Today, Nate Dogg and I go through a ton of AI-related topics, scheduling, how to build out estimates, proposals, build out a better client experience with AI. We also do our favorite segment, which is crime in construction. And once again, we bag on California and how they are enabling homeless and crime to run rampant. So stay tuned. YouTube is a great watch as well. So like, share, subscribe, and hope you enjoy it.
It is not turned up Tuesday. It's raining. There's rain in the weather, so we left the car home. No fast cars today.
Do you want to see something dope?
More dope than the lights in the background flashing?
That's just everyday dope.
That's everyday dope.
This is dope. So I'm building this, right?
Client Lifecycle. What are you building that in?
Miro. So it's like from CSR, sales design, through operations, and then warranty, right? So I put it into GPT, and like, here's our process plot. Build this into workflow, give tech stack suggestions, processes, yada, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna be using Monday.com like for this, because I was going between like Monday and Airtable, and then, dude, it's sick. So it's like it gives me all of this, right?
Well, yeah.
And then I could go to
Do you
Replit.
Are you just texting and typing, or are you talking, having full conversations now?
Full cover. Like it's a extension of my personality now.
Yeah.
It's bad. Okay, come on. And then Replit is I'm building out whatever. Fucking let me live. Continue. Yeah, great. Anyways, with Replit, I can go into here. Oh, here.
Yeah.
I think I have this app going. And I'm building.
Yep. Dropping in. Let's grab.
Yeah, building out the custom app, like with that workflow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, we're doing the same with. I have two right now I'm actually working on, but one of which is more of a CSR program that will tie and integrate into our CRM.
What
and
CRM
then
are you using?
which let's go high level.
No.
Yep, JHL with a ton of AI. It's definitely mixed, but it's Kyle's built it to be a machine, and it hasn't been overly expensive.
Who's
There's
Kyle?
some clunkiness in it. Kyle Reed with Synect.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's he had a partner in a business called Timberline, and the two of them parted ways and started doing his own thing, and with the gentleman's agreement in the middle there, didn't back solicit anyone, but I could see things crumbling on my side, so I reached out to him and said, what's going on here? He's like, I can't take you, but you can leave. But yeah, he's built out our entire sales funnel pipeline that's integrated from Zapier off the web lead. So it's pretty simple. It's not anything complex. I can do workflows with the sales side. I can do workflows in production. There's a lot of automations that go on. So there's a lot of forward proactive communication in there. I'm now working on a couple of VSLs to put in that. So it's even more specific. So once the client completes the form, gets the email text saying we've received their information, they'll also receive a VSL informing them on what those next steps look like, and more clarity around our goals and what we're hoping to do in the way of educating them and giving them a lot of detail, just to differentiate ourselves from, hey, we're not a handyman. This isn't one of those types of meetings that we're scheduling, this is going to be one where we are going to ask that everybody's there. It's not something we're even going to schedule if we can't attempt to try and get everyone that's going to be helping make decisions at the kitchen table. Just trying to do everything we can to create a better experience. But the whole AI, man, I've been down, dude, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with AI recently around our process, our project management structure. I've even gone as far as like individually having full conversations with AI about in a construction process, material applications in and around specifics like the kicker for the stairwell. And now that it knows how we standardize our practice on the kicker for the stairwell and the stringer application and how we like to block and bridge in the stairwell stringers, we add usually a minimum of 5 stringers. All of them get wrapped butyl tape. We use wood life treatment on them to prevent from rot and decay. The AI knows this now, and so that's one little piece of what we're building out for our standardized process for how a deck should be built. The next rollout I'll be doing is when we prepare joists. Obviously you can take a joist off a stack, roll it over, throw it up there, throw a hanger on it, and call it a deck. But for us, it's a little more intricate. We do like to look at the stack. We crown everything. We want to see where the knots lie. If it's a board that's got a lot of knots in it, we may use the knot as the drop cut and prepare a stack of waste and prepare a stack of, 1s and 2s and prepare a stack of premiums. And the premiums are going to be needed to be applied to a specific area in the framing so that it's not going to have any issues with shifting, buckling, twisting. So the AI is now like hearing me talk like this, and it's starting to use it. So it's now, it knows the stairwell framing, it knows the standardized floor plan framing. It knows now when we do beams, how we attach our beams. We like to notch them. We like to use a specific fastener for those. How we apply hangers, how we install all these. We don't use impacts when we put the decking down. We like to use a drill. The impact snaps the fasteners and over tightens things. It's just all these little things that, like, until you've made a mess and failed a million times, you don't know. So now AI is starting to get educated. I'm building that out, though, so that when I go to create an entire playbook for production, it's extremely simple. I can say, can you make this playbook? And then I can take that playbook and copy paste it into Gamma and make it visually, aesthetically pleasing to present to a homeowner, or to, train up the staff, or to provide our vendor so they see better how we're using the materials that we're allocating for the job. So when we give them a takeoff, there's no misappropriation of fasteners or we need this many picture frame boards because here's how we apply it to the project, right? That's just another layer of education that I think is so cool. And then you can take it from there. Like, you've got all these process flow, apps that you can re-engineer or reverse engineer out from this whole, standardized practice. What would a $5 million business, if you had $38,000 average job size, look like in that structure? Hey, show me a hierarchy or a, org chart for managing a business of this size, and give me some ideas around, leadership structure and, roles and responsibilities. Help me build out an entire admin role. What would they be handling? It's crazy what this will do.
Yeah. How about scheduling? That's one of the things I'm trying right now to build out with AI, like a smart scheduling where it takes the context, like, because we're mostly in-house labor. And so everyone has an inherent skill set, right? Like, that might be I might have a tier 1 framer who's like a tier 2 finish carpenter who's like a tier 3 finish guy, for like plumbing, electrical fixtures, stuff like that. And I'm trying to build something where it takes all the context and then optimizes my schedule with manpower with all my other projects going on.
This is a unique algorithm. And I'll use this as an example. So Mac's wife was a coder, wrote code for the healthcare industry, and that code was essentially the algorithm internally in a outpatient hospital urgent care, that once you checked in, it would receive your, personal data information, needs analysis, and then go through the process of triage in the hospital or whatever, facility you're in, to determine who is the right physician that's available the soonest, what nurse staff, which bed bay in the ICU. All of that gets done in an algorithm. So it's like, you've got to have, I think you start with the schedule first, right? So individual person, like, so in this case, this particular carpenter is going to work these hours. He can handle this many jobs. These are his skill sets. So you build the profile for that one carpenter out, right? And then you build the profile out for the other carpenter that's like, all right, he's not able to do nearly as many projects, but he can handle the higher end, more intricate, very detailed components. So that's his avatar profile. And then you have to kind of create a profile for a scheduler. Hey, if I was to be scheduling both of these two in a realistic, 3-day turnaround for this style of a project with these needs, who would be the most applicable in the time of need to turn this around from start to finish to cash flow it? And it's like, you're really just, it's like you have to step back 30,000 foot and look at that full picture to then dig into, okay, well, we've got to get their profile created. And I'm like starting that with my project management role right now, because as soon as I have his entire capabilities built out, then I'm going to move into the operations roles and the superintendent roles and build this all for them. Because it will, I think, get to a point where you could basically put a message in, hey, I've got a 16 by 20. This homeowner would like to have it done within the next 3 weeks. The permitting process in this county, typically right now, it's averaging 7 days turnaround. Which crew do I have readily available who could service this and provide it completed turnkey with a positive review? And they'll spit out the recommendation, and it's like, okay, great. Now I have 7 other projects that just got sold. Here's the average ticket size. Here's all the details, the scope of work. Upload the whole thing and then just let it automate.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be wild. And I think even on the profile side, that's an important part, but also the understanding the context of the set of plans is going to be very important as well. But with the profile, I feel like that's just a one-on-one interview with each one of your guys, recorded, like with an Otter or a Fireflies or even ChatGPT, like just basically giving it a prompt, like, you're going to listen to an interview, like, shut up and listen and take notes. This, employee profile is for XYZ employee. And then they just spit off, and it's basically just an interview between you and that employee. And then it saves and kind of catalogs all of those skill sets. And you just go one after another, just one-on-one after one-on-one, just getting what they've, like, from the horse's mouth. What are you comfortable with? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? And that leads to a whole other level of coaching, because now you could say, okay, based off of XYZ employees interview, how can I best coach them based off of the words they said, right? Like, based off of how they need to be coached, what can I do as a coach for them? And then it's also, so AI is crazy. And it's just so weird because you almost have to reprogram how you work to use AI effectively. Because there's so many things on the day-to-day where you just do it yourself, and you're like, well, I could just do this with AI and have it learn what I want it to do, and then probably automate this in the next 6 weeks, and it's just over.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of that I like, which is the hammer, my hammer's the sales and marketing, right? That's my favorite role to be within. Now that you've got your profiles, right, for your individual crews or in-house labor or production management staff, and you're starting to feel like you've got pretty good bite on your workload. So let's say you got 10 projects that you're able to be mobilized into and cash flowing within the next 6 weeks. You can start to develop a marketing strategy with your finance department to scale that by saying, hey, we at this time of the season are booked up, but have some open windows coming up in the very near distant future where I can recreate an offer based off of timelines and based off of project execution and based off of, right now it's the seasons. Like, we're going through a ton of rain right now, but it's crazy because we're still on schedule. We're not really behind on anything, but there are other companies that are struggling. I keep seeing their social media talk about the delays they're having, and I'm like, so there's a perfect opportunity for me to take some of that data and run with it in the marketing side and capitalize a huge window where people are going to be backlogged. We're not going to be. We'll have a completely open schedule to crush it.
Pause real quick. Producer Dave, my mouse died. On my desk, there's like a DeWalt battery and like a little sliding thing with a cord. Can you grab that? I can plug it in. My silly wireless technology. When's AI going to fix that? When is power just going to stream through the air and charge all of your devices? You know what I mean?
That's part of what the aliens are doing for us right now, I think.
The aliens, the little green people. Dude, I watched a movie. It was called Paul. It was like filmed back in 2011, but for whatever reason, I never saw it. In 2011, I was like prime movie watching. I watched pretty much every movie, I felt like.
Nice.
But it's like this little alien dude, and it's these two nerds that go to Comic-Con in San Diego, and then they go like on a road trip to hit all of the like extraterrestrial sighting locations in Nevada and New Mexico and all that. And yeah, it's this little alien dude, and he can like heal people and read minds, and he's like, smoking pot, drinking beers. Like, it was actually kind of funny.
That is. Yeah, it's always fun. I haven't watched a lot of TV in the last few years, but recently just started finding a little bit more, like Sunday after church, I've been sitting down. We just watched Gladiator 1, and then we're finishing Gladiator 2, which I don't know. That's like, I've been to Rome, I've been to Italy. Now it's totally different. I want to go back again, just the little biblical journey I'm on right now and feel more of like what Rome. I think I missed a part of Rome when I was there. I rushed through it. But now having seen some of those, like, you have a totally different plan. So I've used ChatGPT, and I've had it create an entirely unique experience. I've even got now, like, someone asked me the other day, hey, what's your dream vacation or trip, or, where do you plan to want to go before you die, kind of thing. And I was like, man, I don't know. That's hard. And then I thought more about it. I was like, Jerusalem. Like, I want to see Jerusalem. I want to like literally go to King David Hotel, go see Tel Aviv, see the Dead Sea, go to Galilee. There's an entire thing. So I had chat build out like a 10-day trip. And man, if it didn't just come up with like probably one of the coolest experiences, like walk through, where is it at? Stand Tiberius, visit Capernaum, of course, winery. I guess it's obvious. There's a lot of that there. I just thought it was kind of neat, like how crazy detailed it was. Even recommended some restaurants.
Another industry dead by AI, travel agents. Travel agents, paralegals, developers, graphic design. Gosh, it goes on and on and on. What AI is just gonna brutally murder. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at a job site the other day, and I've got my little my Plod. I don't know if you've
Do you like that?
used one of these guys.
I almost got one, but I'm not sure if I want it yet.
Okay, so I'll tell you right now, it's it's similar to like when you're on a Zoom call and you've got your AI assistant recording and sending you notes afterwards.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. We're using Zero as our AI recorder on job sites when we meet with our homeowners. Of course, there's a lot of coaching and lessons learned in that too. It'll help AI will go back over your entire recording.
Yeah.
And you can ask for recommendations as to what you could have done differently to improve, and it'll give you, constructive criticism. But this has also come in very well handy for exactly that, recording and converting to notes, and then taking the notes, dumping them into AI, and just self-improvement, self-awareness. If anything, the beginning part of it, but now it's like, I think it's even better because you got, with AI, suggestive learning. I don't know how you describe it, but if you don't know what you don't know, it's hard to learn, like that's one of the biggest things I think I ever heard about in coaching, where people are like, yeah, man, I mean, we're doing good. Well, how can I help you? I have no idea. What do you think we should be focused on? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, focus on closing, focus on improving your professionalism. It's like, what do you want to work on? And this is going to eliminate a lot of that too, I think. You got your own coach standing right here. They know you well.
I think the coaching side, there is something to be said about face-to-face, like interpersonal, like community, right? Like community's not going anywhere. But like coaching, oftentimes when like I'm working with a client or even just having like a call, like just with another contractor or just messaging on Facebook, like whatever it may be, like it's tough to always get down to the root of like what the issue is, because they have so many layers of, I'm not going to call it bullshit, but like people are onions, you got to peel it back, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of intentionality to get to the core problem. Where like with AI, you could just like plug in your balance sheet, plug in your P&L, plug in like all your KPIs in your CRM, and then just be like, what am I doing wrong? And then it's going to ask you great questions, and you're going to answer those questions, and it's going to just like peel back that onion way quicker, way more effectively than another person can, in my opinion. And I use it to self-evaluate myself all the time. Like I saw this prompt when I was scrolling on X, and this person was like, put this prompt in if you just want to be like roasted by ChatGPT, and it was something about like, take all the context of our conversations that we've ever had and tell me, the 3 to 5 things that I'm failing at, like basically like just come at me, show me all my blind spots. And my AI, like I'm a softie. I need to be more firm in all areas of my life. But so it starts off with like, kind of a shit sandwich. Like, you're a very compassionate and thoughtful leader, but like you suck at, it just starts hammering me. And I was like, okay, that's great. Thanks for the insight. I'll work on that.
That's so funny you say that. I changed the prompt last week. I found something, I was scrolling Insta, and someone had a directive to convert and change the personality of my AI to be more blunt, direct, get rid of all the soft approach and just come straight out with it. And it definitely changed the way that I'm talking now to it, because it doesn't, how if you're like physically talking to AI, it like recaps what you said, and then because then it makes you feel good about they're on the same page as what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And then it starts to suggestively go through the next steps, and then it recaps what the next step is.
Yeah.
I don't need all that. Like, it's too much. Just tell me what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so it changed all of it. I really like this new feature though. And when I was at a job site the other day, at an estimate, the woman, before I even told her how much and what I thought about what we could do, she says, I don't care, I want to hire you, what's the next steps? And I go, well, I mean, if we're that far into this and we're ready to rock and roll, let's do this. Let me step back, give me about 15 or 20 minutes. I'd like to do some quick walkthrough and just record what I'm seeing and what I'm like hoping to be able to do to make this a better space. The deck's 2 years old. There was nothing wrong with it. It was done right. It was very well done. But she had some upgrades she wanted done to it, and the prior deck builder was a friend of her ex-husband's, so she's not calling him.
Yeah.
So I'm going, okay, well, let me just walk through this real quick and capture it, and then I'll have a full-blown scope of work that I can talk to you about, and we'll go from there. Does that sound good? She's like, yeah. So I step back, and the landscaper's out there trimming the shrubs and, working on killing weeds, and he sees me with my phone and a camera, kind of like I would be using company cam, just rolling through like a walkthrough, but I'm using AI, and I've got the camera app turned on AI, and I'm taking photos. And I was like, okay, chat, here, I'm going to take a picture of this. I want you to memorize this photo. We're going to come back through. I want to add in, 2 fan junction boxes here. I'd like to put in a 42-inch fan. So our head height is a concern here. We only have about 6 foot 8 inches to work with, so I'll have to be cognizant about how I put that on the slope. From there, I'd like for us to come back in through with a tongue and groove ceiling. Want to trim it all out very nice. Down below, we're going to use an underdeck kit. I'd like to use this particular kit. She's mentioned the natural colors go well with the features out here, so I think in maybe like a champagne color. Over here, the stairwell that wasn't addressed when the initial deck was put in needs to be addressed. We need to tear it all out. We're going to rebuild it back in, and here I'm going to take a picture of the existing stairwell so we can match the trim, detail, layout, color, boom. And I did all that. Dude, spit me out an entire scope of work, pictures and everything. I looked back at her. I said, hey, just take a look at this. Is this what you were thinking about? Is this kind of what you had in mind? Because this is what I saw. And also, your lower deck needs ventilated. There's too much moisture there, and that's what's causing the mold to grow on the decking products. We need to put crawl space vents in the lower deck, and I can sit 3 or 4 of those in there. Added that, boom, had us she's like, okay, it's cool, send it to me, and I'll just, I guess, wire you the money. I'm like, yeah. So I went back to the office, copied and pasted my entire AI into a scope of work, did a 1-line item proposal, call it deck work, threw the scope of work in there, quantity 1, and I just, in my head, knew the number was based on what we were doing, buffered it by 10% contingency, and she signed it within 5 seconds of me emailing it to her at 10 o'clock at night. It's like, if I could just keep doing that, that's so simple. You have no notes to take, and this makes it even easier. I don't have notes anymore. I was trying to decide if I wanted to go back to a paper calendar or back to a paper notepad, it's all over my desk. I have these.
Yeah.
This is the daily. It used to be the daily, but I'm over those. And I was looking at what's the new pad that you can write on?
The
converts your
Remarkable
handwriting. Yeah, Remarkable.
Yeah.
All right. So the best, most baller version of that's, I don't know, $1,000 or something. I looked at what it can perform versus what AI can do. It's a waste of time because I physically then have to stand there and handwrite all of that. Why would I do that when I could just talk?
Yeah, I feel like more people use that as a therapeutic thing. Some people enjoy writing, and what I inherently think those are stupid products because it's they try to make it as close to pen and paper as possible. It's just grab a freaking pen and paper. If you want that feeling, if that's therapeutic to you, just write on pen and paper.
And at the end of it, if you don't like how it looks, take a picture with your iPhone and copy and paste it.
Yeah.
And then go to photos, copy and paste the text, and then convert it to...
Yeah. Or just scan it. Yeah. Scan it and convert to
scan
text.
It.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The only reason I like the idea of the Plod or a wearable AI that will record everything. What I don't like about it is that it will record everything. Because we're
already recording everything, man.
I know, but I like it being a secret. I like not knowing I'm being recorded, but understanding that everything is recorded. One, because
you already have your fingerprints.
I know. I'm
New
World Order comes, I am screwed. Right? They have so much evidence on me. But I just don't know. I have one-on-one conversations. I have private conversations that I necessarily don't want going into a stored database, whether that is with a employee, a client, my wife, whatever it may be. And that would sketch me. I would almost feel like I have to watch every word I say, which I probably should anyways. But I shoot from the hip, man. I say some things that I probably shouldn't say out loud. And I would hate for
your
that
phone's
to be
right next to you though,
recorded.
all the time. So how do you combat that? What do you do with your phone?
I put it on airplane mode. I turn all my recording things off, so it can't. Well, it still does. I know it still does, Nate. I know I'm being watched, right? Like this little camera right here is like going straight to my little FBI agent in Quantico, and they're like, this idiot, like, like we got everything on this asshole. Like he can go to prison tomorrow, But hey, freedom of speech is still free until it's not. But I'm just not sold. Now for employees, especially like superintendents, project managers, anyone client facing, I love the idea of that. Going into a shared database and then backing that up into like a repository for our internal AI. He's named Albert. To then like learn from the conversations that are had on site. And even get like, it could be like an internal net promoter score of culture, right? So what is the sentiment in the field? Well, it pulls all of the conversations that they've had and gives you like, hey, well, most of the guys in the field think, this is a great place to work, but you have one guy that's always instigating and kind of talking down and complaining and all this stuff. Well, I got a red flag, now I know who needs to go. But it just gets a little bit, I don't know, like I don't run a democracy over here. Like it's an agreeable totalitarian relationship that I have, but like my call goes. But I feel like that's almost a step too far, right? Because like people should feel comfortable to have raw conversations in context, without the fear of repercussions, right? Like I want people to talk to the employee that they're friends with and they trust and vent to them about the decision I made that they don't agree with. Right? Like I want them to feel safe to do that without me knowing. That way they don't have fear of me coming back down on them. Cause I already I think any business owner knows you're not going to make everyone happy. Right. But you have to make a decision, and this isn't a democracy. Like it's not going to be a one size fits all. It's not going to cater to everyone, and every solution is going to cause its own set of problems. But as long as I know the problems that it's causing and I can live with those problems, I got to make the decision, even if that does affect, XYZ employee that is 3 hands removed from the actual production of the project is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's a touchy subject because I think there is a time in the growth of the business where it is extremely important to recognize that you really do need to have an all-inclusive vision and be prepared to have difficult conversations within all of those different departments to make sure that the door is open and it's not just one size fits all. But I think for the sake of a small company, in which the case of many of the listeners are probably feeling, the leader is responsible for developing the strategy, giving the solution to individual departments, ensuring it's executed, holding them accountable. And it's like, I don't mean it from like an intimidation standpoint.
Like, let's say 2 to 10 employees. Like, let's call that pretty small, right? Like 2 to 10 employees is relatively small. You should be building out as if you have 50 employees.
Correct.
Right? And when you have 50 employees, you should be building out like you have 150 employees. When you have 150, you're shooting for 500, 1,000. And so because the processes for a 500 employee company are not the same as a 5-person company because it's just going to be a bunch of redundancy, right? And there's going to be a bunch of paperwork and bureaucracy, and there's not going to be as much scale and volume to like warrant the process at a 5-person company compared to a 500-person company. But I will say that if the only things that happen are the things you allow in your business, and so when you're running a 5-person company, you're like 100% of the time you are the bottleneck, right? Like the decision goes through you. There's no tiers between you and the client. And like we're pushing 50 people now where we're at, And I had a conversation internally with our office staff the other day. It was at our sales and design meeting, but we have an open office, and so everyone's kind of included in the meeting. You know, if anyone has a good idea, like we're totally open source. Like, raise your hand, throw your idea out there, and don't bitch unless you have a solution. Like, that's the rules, you know? But we were talking, and we're transitioning because we had one project manager. He had a stroke, and he's out. And so we had like a transition on projects, and new management was coming in, and I was a salesperson on some of those projects. So I was injecting myself back into that client experience to make sure that they're taken care of during this transition. But of course, when that happens, I become the bottleneck again, right? Like the client's now coming to me instead of my ops manager for me to answer questions. And I'm in the middle of the meeting, and I was like, hey guys, like if I order something on Amazon and I have a problem with it, does Jeff Bezos come to my house? No. All right. Jeff Bezos could give two shits about my issue with the Chinese made shirt I bought on Amazon, right? Like he does not care. Why am I going to a house to look at an outlet that is faulty and grounding out or arcing or whatever it is? Like why am I doing that, right? And not saying I'm too good to do that, because I will do what's required to make our clients happy. There's 49 other people here, right? And they all have their role. We have a superintendent, we have a project manager, we have an ops manager, we have 20 guys in the field, we have all this stuff going on. Like, but yet I'm the one going to the job site when what I should be doing is business development, growing the company. Like, how do you think we got to 50 people, right? How do you think we got to 10 million? Like, how do you think we got to those places? By me doing what I need to do in my role and not being the bottleneck, like giving you guys a process, a playbook, autonomy and agency to go fail, go succeed, go learn from those things. And I'm here to build the bumpers, you know, to make sure that we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. But I'm not the guy that should be going out there diagnosing an outlet, even though I am good at electrical. No. Like that's like,
no, Jeff Bezos makes like one or two extremely hard decisions a day. That's about it.
His schedule. So I don't agree with his schedule, because I think he could go farther by doing more. Because I was listening to an interview with him. Homie, like, doesn't start his day till like 10 a.m. You know, he's the guy that, obviously he has like total fuck you money. He can do what he wants, but he's the cold plunge and the meditate and the get the red light therapy and sit in the sauna and start your day around 10 o'clock. And then I'm going to make one decision today, and that's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go home, or I'm going to go do whatever I want after that decision's made. You know, I might read for 3 or 4 hours during the day, which like is awesome. But also I'm like, what got you to where you're at? Like, what happened to Amazon with the paper banner on the wall and grinding through the era of the internet boom to become the Goliath that you are? Like, where could you go if you did just grind for 5 more years? You know, like if you did wake up at 3 a.m. and you worked till, 10 at night, like what would happen then? Like you'd probably change the world more so than you are right now. But for whatever reason, like I don't know, because I never had billions of dollars and the complacency that might come with that. But calling you out, Bezos, come get some. Apparently he's really smart though, from everyone I've heard that's talked to him. He's like a next level type guy. Apparently when he doesn't angel invest, but when he does invest in companies, he gets like a one-on-one with that founder every quarter. And it's only like a 30-minute to an hour meeting. But every single founder that was coming on this podcast I was listening to, they were like, he always has one thing that completely shifts my paradigm on how to run my business or how to implement X, Y, and Z or what we should do in the future. And he never looks at my company. Like he doesn't know what we do on the daily, but he always has like one little gold nugget that completely shifts my paradigm.
That's
which
good
is
leadership,
a skill
though. That's what
in itself.
Do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They identify the best values and traits that you have and are able to encourage you to strive for more of that effort.
Yeah. Well, and it's also interesting being like a marketplace type business, which is why I also still tout like service companies, contracting companies. It's the hardest business in the world, maybe second to restaurants, but like because literally every position is the most important position. Like there's not too many nice to have positions. They're all pretty much need to have, especially at scale. Like you would think like a CSR is a nice to have. Like why doesn't the salesperson just pick up the phone? It's like, well, you ever had 700 phone calls in a week? You know, like that salesperson can't handle that type of volume. Like you need a dedicated department at that scale. But with a fixed price, like a fixed overhead model company, it is so much easier to scale. Whereas like with construction, there's variable overhead, there's fixed overhead, and there's also all your cost of goods sold, which is incredibly variable, depending on everything upstream coming down to that cog. But with like Amazon, you know, like it's pretty fixed price, and it's a marketplace. So a lot of your revenue is it can be at the mercy of other vendors and suppliers, but it's also your success is guaranteed at volume. You know, so like everyone has a skin in the game. Where like for us, like no one really has skin in the game. Like the buck stops with the owner, essentially. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big tell. I mean,
business.
it's tough to compare that to because I think residential contracting is one of the most emotional businesses that exist. There's so many emotions tied to your home, whether you believe it or not. I mean, it's a place of, you know, peace. It's a place of safe and comfort. And when anyone tampers with that for you, it changes the way you operate. People go home to close the door and rest their head and not think about all the pressures and stress in life. And as soon as you start transforming it in some form or fashion, making it new, improving it, going through the construction process is always a headache because it's like, oh, this has changed. Nobody really wants change. They want the overall solution. It's like the emotions tied to having to go through that transition are complicated. Whereas like you buy a new car, they don't see it go through the manufacturing process. You just hand over the key. Here's your new car.
Well, what's different is like every experience we have with a client is a novel experience for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like you buy something on Amazon, you've bought things your whole life, right? You go buy a car, you've driven a car your whole life. You know what the expectation should be. But when you're creating something that's never been there before and you never had that experience of going through the process of creating it or designing it or being a part of that process, all of your inherent insecurities come out as a consumer, right? And it's all amplified because it's not a $40 t-shirt off of Amazon. It could be a $40,000 deck, right? It could be a $400,000 kitchen. It could be there's a lot more. It just brings out the worst in people, and I've also seen it bring out the best in people too. Like we have a client right now, like very devout believers, Christian, awesome couple, right? They run care home facilities throughout Central California, which is also like a part of their like mission. Like they give back that way. They're a biblically led, basically a transition house. Like, and that's kind of how they view it too. Like you come here, like, you know, you're passing away. Like our goal is to show you Jesus, right? Like live out the gospel and love on you in your last days. And like, this is a gateway. I think one of their facilities is called Gateway. Like this is the gateway to heaven, baby. And they ran into some financial issues during the project because they run businesses too. Like they had cash flow issues. They had money tied up in developing new properties for more care homes. And we're like working back and forth. But the whole time, even when things didn't go right, like when the utility company is like pushing us for interconnection to their 400 main service panel right now and delaying our final inspection, which, you know, PG&E is a legalized terrorist organization. You can quote me on that too, PG&E. Come get some. You and Jeff Bezos. They have gratitude the whole time, right? Like they just have inherent humility and peace and calmness and gratitude about them that like they just do everything with grace, you know, and they're just so peaceful about it. Whereas I can think of many clients who would be in their situation who would have a gun to my head because I'm not interconnecting their service when I have no control over PG&E, right? Like they gave me a 9-month window, lady. Like, I don't know when they're coming. They don't tell me. Yeah. Like, they're a monopoly. Like, I have no control. But they just have grace. Where a lot of other clients, it brings out the worst in them. You know, they're going to be at my neck every single day, sending me messages and voicemails and emails and harassing my team. And like, which, I mean, it does come down to, once again, the only things that happen is what you allow, including who you work for and work with, and picking the right clients. But which is also a whole other podcast on scale, because cold marketed leads, and when you're trying to grow and you need that revenue, you got to be okay with saying no, you know. But it's tough to scale when every other client coming through the door, you get red flags, you know, on the first consult.
Yeah, I think there's levels of every market, however you tap into it.
Do you see demographically a change in your ideal client avatar? Like if you're in Chattanooga, is that how you say it? Chattanooga, yeah. Chattanooga, okay. Compared to Knoxville, compared to Nashville, like is there a different personality that you're working with, like geographically?
Yeah, old money and new money, drug money. Yeah, that's a thing. I mean, you got industries too that are a little different. So, you know, Knoxville's predominantly a healthcare based community backed on, you know, the University of Tennessee and the hospital organizations here. And then Chattanooga is kind of a tech highway, man. It's like the secondary Silicon Valley down there. They've got they've got a lot of you know, private equity firms down there, a lot of venture capitalists doing sort of the think tank organization build out. Which is, I mean, I've worked in that industry within the logistics stuff I did. I was working for a company that was a VC that funded like 7 or 8 other companies. It was cool because I think we talked about this on the lighter podcast where they used the same accounting firm in-house to service all of their businesses. It was like a super smart, savvy program. But yeah, I mean, there is a different demographic and clientele in that market, but I think at the end of the day, it's still the same scope of work. It's just how you relay it to those demographics. Like it's here too. There's pockets.
What about culturally? Like, do you have Indian clients in Tennessee?
We do. I was at a home yesterday, and Mr. Patel basically straight up told me, "Hey man, I'm gonna." Call me when you get to the house. It's my parents' home. My father and I own some hotels in and around the community. My mother's not going to be a part of the decision-making process. She will slow it down, and she doesn't want to spend money. They're in a $1 million home in a quiet subdivision that's probably 20 years old. The house has some small, minor improvements to it recently, but the deck is 20-plus years old, needs to come down. They assumed, and his father and he thought that they could just pull the deck boards off and put new decking on. So I had to give them the harsh reality that you could do that, but why spend, you know, $10,000, $15,000 on decking product and railing product on a 30-year-old frame that is going to eventually get rotten and need to be replaced? How do you replace the frame then?
Yeah.
So you have to start over, and that was a lot to speak of. But his, you know, demographically, what we've I guess assumed is that in that dynamic, there's not a chance that we're moving forward. It's a long sales play. It's a lot of time invested just to get through to the son, to then relay the message to the father, to at that point then include the mother, even though she's not a player. It's a lot,
dude.
But
it's always multi-generational. I have a hard time
family.
Getting to the decision maker in those situations because there's 10 of them. There's 10 decision makers. Like everyone's living in the house, which is like, I actually think it's really cool. Like we convert a lot of garages to ADUs for mother-in-law suites type stuff. But it's like, okay, so she wants this, you want this, you're the one paying. So in my mind, like you have the biggest say here, because you're stroking the check. But like, and then when it comes down, for whatever reason, I really do think it's culturally. And my dad's ex-fiance was Indian, and I've been meaning to reach out to her son to like talk to him about this because we're friends and be like, culturally, how do I get across? Because when it comes down to pen and to paper, everything's a negotiation, right? Like I've been on like $500,000-$600,000 contract signings where we're negotiating like $50 on fixtures, you know, and to where like the point where I'm like, is this $50 really going to be holding up, you know, your vision here for your renovation, right? Like I'll take the $50 out, like whatever. But then it sets a precedence that like, and I feel like that's almost what it is. It's an authority thing. And I do think like culture, like the head of the household, the man of the household, like he is the authoritative figure of that
That's
house.
right.
And that's the game, right? To where I don't want to work with people that I'm subservient to. Like I want to work with my peer, right? Like I want to have an eye-to-eye level conversation where I respect you, you respect me, and we're working together, right? I'm not working for you. You're not working for me. I respect your time. You respect my time. You respect our process. I respect your home's, you know, boundaries and privacy. Like let's work together. And I need to find a way to cut through and get that message
That just
across.
starts with that exact conversation that you just had. I mean, you kind of talked your way through the solution, but the point is they have a perceived expectation as to how they operate business. Like you said, the father's probably the decision maker, but he's 87 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to feel good about it, and he's established his son as the the family member that's going to be vetting these to carefully determine if they're going to be a good fit first. So he even straight told me, we don't plan to call anybody else. I already did all the vetting. Now it comes down to how we approach this. And when I speak to my mother and father, what I present to them based on what you've educated me on is where we'll go from here. And then as we get through the next step, I will schedule time where you'll come out and talk to them about some of the products and things that will give us the best solutions. But at this point, we're really just kind of trying to figure out what we should be comfortable spending. We don't know what we should be spending, but we also know what we're comfortable spending. Money's not a problem, but we do budget, and they run their home like a business. Like I think everybody should. I think that's one of the things that's different about that culture, and much like a lot of the Asian cultures, they do run their home and their household like a business, and they make decisions financially like good executives should.
Mm-hmm.
Americans don't. Americans look at something and go, "Gotta have it, want it, pay for it.
West,
I can't
baby.
afford it.
Let's
and I
go.
fund it." And I'm gonna 30 years later regret the fact that it depreciated so hard I can't even afford to operate. Right?
Okay, can I segue into my new favorite
Yeah,
section?
let's segue.
Okay. Crimes in construction. We need a cool drop for this, producer Dave. Like da 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 da.
Here it comes.
Here, I don't know. Let me go screen. No, this one. Okay. All right, sharing screen. This is in California, Van Nuys, California. You see this dude throwing building material over the fence? This is construction site theft. So. And also, great segue back to when we're talking about AI, how AI can help mitigate this, prevent this. So it goes into one, like the cost breakdown of, so I've been robbed. Maybe burglarized is the thing. Isn't robbery where like there's a gun to your head, like give me your money, but burglaries where like you're not present and they just kind of take your shit?
Or B&E. It's just a breaking in, and they don't even actually get away with anything.
B&E action. Yeah, I've been B&E.
B&E.
Now in like our job trailers, we park them on site. We have the padlocks, you know, with it's all locked up, right? But we have 60-volt cordless DeWalt miter saw, table saw, concrete saws, PEX expansion, Milwaukee kits, like all the stuff's in there, right? Probably about, I think it's like $8 to $10 grand worth of stuff. So direct cost of theft, replacing your shit, right? Rentals while you're replacing that stuff, insurance. We got dropped by insurance because we got B&E'd 3 times in a year. Yeah, 3 times we got hit. Have you ever been robbed or B&E'd?
No.
No?
Just I guess luck of the. Don't know.
Yeah, you haven't been to Stockton. Yeah. Stockton, California.
Most people live in RVs on the street, though. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Tennessee's pretty friendly. I've only been once, but everyone's pretty nice.
If you stole something from us, there's a good chance I know somebody you know. So. We got
Yeah,
a problem.
Central California, like Stockton, Southside Modesto, Ceres, terrible. You will. It's not if, it's when you get being. I like that saying, be and eat. All right. So project delays, penalties. Obviously, if you're missing all your shit, like if someone goes and breaks in and steals all your drywall, there's a lead time to get more drywall. Obviously, delays. Let's see, setbacks, higher insurance premiums. Like I said, we got dropped from insurance because we claimed like $30,000 in losses on tools, to where they thought we were like doing a scam. And I'm like, no, like for real. Here's the police report. Here's the pictures. Like these dudes straight up cut our locks off and robbed us. Reputational damage. I'm not sure how that really. I mean, maybe to the city, right? Like no one wants to work in Stockton. Like that's like bottom of the barrel. If we're going to Stockton, it's tough times, unless we're like there's like a nice part of Stockton, but it's a really small community and it's gated. But anyways, all this stuff. But then we get to the AI, we get to the solution. So problem, too many B&Es. Solution, AI powered security. So AI cameras that can detect and this is actually a rollout for a lot of police stations locally. I'm on a board, and they have like these cameras that can one that can hear, obviously see stuff, but it's like preemptive policing, like it's proactive, and they can almost identify a trend and be like, oh, something's about to go down here. It's almost like that spider sense you get, that feeling in your gut when like you're about to get in a fight or something. You just know something's about to happen. You're just not sure like when or how.
I can already see this reducing our police force even more than it already has been.
Dude, I'm waiting for I Am Robot
We're gonna be pissed
level stuff.
The AI is going to change their route. They're going to be like, well, I normally don't do that patrol route. I do this patrol route because there's these restaurants that I like to.
Dude, speaking of this, the AI cameras, one of our clients in a nice town, Pleasanton, but they keep getting robbed. Like their neighborhood B&Es are through the roof. Woodbury. They just bought, it was like a $20,000 or $30,000 security system that you can automate a pepper spray to come out of the cameras.
Come on.
Smoke. Like, like the one where it's like, hey, Alexa, someone's breaking in and like all the lights go red and it puts on like Down with the Sickness, it's like, nah. Yeah. Like straight up that type of camera system they put in their house. The brain is like probably 3 foot by 5 foot mounted on the wall with like 2-inch main service rigid conduit going into it. Like it's a legit system, but they have all this. They have the camera to identify suspects. It has like the license plate scanners, facial recognition, audio warnings to where like they can do a preemptive prompt, but then they can also live feed and talk. And it is 24/7 remote, but then they also have like the pepper spray that they can do at like the front door, smoke or gas, like not obviously non-lethal gas, but like, to make it not fun to get in there. And I want to say they could wire up their knobs and stuff for electricity, like for like a little zzz, like if you're not supposed to be there, and they could, but like it's not automated, but like they have to zap them. Dude, straight up purge house. Yeah, like all they really need is like automated like steel shutters and mechanical dogs, like in freaking what's that movie? With the chick, End of the World, the zombies, Resident Evil. Yeah, the dogs in Resident Evil, like the kind of mechanical zombie dogs. But anyways, so I think this is going to be huge. I would love to we need to implement a better preemptive security. And I think every contractor could, especially on like new construction where your job site's just kind of wide open in some ways. There might be fencing, but like you need security on site.
Are you open carry law there?
Dude, it's California, bro. It's California.
You can't even close carry.
You need a CCW, which I need to renew my CCW. But really, I mean, I would say it depends on where you're at. Like San Francisco, they won't let you even CCW. Like you can't have any firearms in San Francisco. which is a joke because if you're going to go get mugged or shot or robbed anywhere, it's San Francisco. Yeah. Like, that's the one place I want to bring my gun. Whereas, like, in Turlock, if I get stopped by the police in Turlock and I have my handgun on me and it's concealed, they would probably be like, don't do that. You know, like, they wouldn't care
here,
as
like,
much.
Home Depot is interesting. Like, you can physically go in Home Depot here and watch someone pocketing items. And if you were to walk up to a Home Depot attendant and tell them, hey, by the way, I just saw that person pocket like a couple $100 worth of things, the Home Depot attendant literally will tell you, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do. I can't chase them down. Yep. I can't follow them. That is what, we don't have a risk department that's responsible for that, and we never will because they just write it off.
Yep. Same thing here. I think it's not a felony until it hits like $1,000 or something like that in California. So like Walgreens, CVS, Home Depot, like everything is behind a locked cage, which so kind of going back to technology too. Like if you look at Amazon, they're starting to pop up like grocery stores and like just general goods stores, and it's all kind of automated. Like you have to scan to get in, and it's almost like a store that's a vending machine. Like you pay at the source and it like dispenses what you want. I think that's where everything's going, truthfully, because you can't go to Home Depot in California. Like I can't even go buy a freaking screwdriver without having someone unlock the shelf for me.
Yeah,
like it's stupid.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
but that's the world we live in this day and age, and it's tough to try and even ridicule a company like Home Depot when you look at the risk departments. Like the other example I have, this has probably been 10 years ago. I was working with a guy who was a firefighter who had a nonprofit children's after-school center, and we were headed to the grocery store to get some, after-school snacks and stuff for these kids. And we're at the store, and while we're there, he had watched a guy pocket a bunch of steaks in his backpack, and the guy was all methed out, ran out of the grocery store, and the general manager and the risk department tried to chase him down. And my buddy tackled the dude and had him at gunpoint in the middle of an intersection waiting for the cops. And I'm like, I got to be honest with you, I don't think I would have gone that far with that.
Enjoy
move.
the ribeye,
like,
homie.
You don't know what that guy's going to do. What if what if he got a shank, or, like my pistol is not designed or set up so I'm going to pull it out and go into a riskier situation. And I think how can you ask even a highly paid, trained security guard at Walmart to want to chase someone down the parking lot, Yeah,
it's in my opinion, it's a lost cause. There's no virtue in it.
Yeah.
It's like me wanting to build $5 million custom homes, but all I do is hall bathrooms, and I'm mad that all the leads I get are for hall bathrooms. Like I'm enabling myself to not be able to do $5 million custom homes. Same thing, like we're empowering homeless people. Like we're empowering crime. We're enabling them. And I don't see like why on the political scene, especially in California, how they don't see that they're causing the problem. Like we are reaffirming bad actions, and so therefore more bad actions will happen unless we stop reaffirming bad actions. Like it's like the simplest equation. Once again, however many millions of people in California, I don't think it'd be that tough. And I'm starting to join a lot of boards, and I make a joke internally with my team that I'm going to run for mayor because I have some shit I want to get done, And one of those is like, we have EBT cards, right? I'm sure they have them in Tennessee too. Like everyone goes and gets their EBT card, and they can refill it and go buy their M&Ms and all that stuff. I want to do like a social credit based system for homeless people, where like they get their card, right? And when they contribute to society, they get points. Whatever that contribution looks like, whether that's community service, cleaning up, whether that's volunteering time at the shelter or the food bank or whatever, but they put in time, they get rewarded. And that reward looks like quality of life aspects. whether that is a week of a hotel room or meals for a week at this restaurant that's participating in this program, or whatever it may look like, right? But like, let's start reaffirming good action, like contribution to society. And, you know, some people that are actually in a hard spot in life might turn their life around, right? And then the ones that are kind of too far gone, they're going to weed themselves out.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying we go full
real.
internment camps, but like, let's just start reaffirming good action and see what happens. And then we can ship them off to the fucking Mojave Desert or something, you know, give them a bunch of mushrooms, let it take care of itself. Yeah. All right, dude, I got to go. I got work to do. Thank you for watching and listening to another episode of the Above Industry Standard podcast. Me and Nate Dogg, we're out. Like, share, subscribe, comment, send it to a contractor in need, and we will see you on the next one.